best this year to bless this here mic for your brain burst. Our guest appeared twice and the check will clear 3 times for the same verse. I was always a demon.
Hello everyone, Darko2012 here, Global Government News. This is the 4th and final part of PsyOps, the war on conservatives, Christians, and militias, among many other things. But this is the 4th and final part, and this is the militia part, because the militias are going to be the first line of defense if the crap ever does hit the fan. I'll talk about 5, 6, maybe even 7 minutes, depending on covering the militias. The first point I'd like to make is the timing. Living in the New World Order, or living under the powers that be, our little masters and controllers, nothing happens for no reason, or you can say everything happens for a reason. In other words, the timing of this incident and this arrest is very peculiar to me and interesting, because just like the Christmas Day bomber, before that you had the large amounts of body scanners purchased by the federal government, and then lo and behold you had the Christmas Day bomber, and the problem reaction solution stage came about, and in that solution stage was, of course, the body scanners, right? And I'm not even going to go into Michael Chertoff, the Chertoff group, being having an invested interest into these body scanners because he deals with them, his company deals with them, and he profits off the sales of them. And Chertoff is the ex-Homeland Security director. So, problem, reaction, solution. And so you had the healthcare bill, and you have all these articles basically saying that, these Christian militias and these militia groups, this could have been sparked by the healthcare bill being passed. So everything is revolving around this healthcare issue now. So I think the timing of these events and when the authorities arrest people, and those are interesting to take into account. So, and the issue that I'll be covering as far as militias go after the healthcare bill being passed was from March 28th, where 7 men and 1 woman. 1 woman were believed to be part of the Michigan-based Tyranny, which is otherwise known as Christian Warrior, were arrested over the weekend in raids in Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, and another was still being sought. As far as why this group was raided originally is unknown to me, really, because it says here, this is not too much of a credible source, this nowpublic.com, but it says Fox News is reporting that 7 people were arrested for reportedly selling pipe bombs in Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. And then you go to this article, the Christian militia accused of plotting to kill cops, and it goes down here and it says that the FBI and police surrounded the rural area Monday, that's today, so yeah, they did the raids on Sunday or whatever over the weekend. Then Monday, the feds were staged at some kind of church. So, and then it says prosecutors said David Stone has identified certain law enforcement officers near his home as potential targets. He and other members discussed setting off bombs at a police funeral using fake 9/11 calls, and that was according to an indictment. So I'm curious as to what's going on here, because they say that there was like some kind of imminent attack that was going to be taking place by this Tyranny group in April. But I went on their website and then it says that they're having an exercise in April, like April 24th or something like that. So according to the officials and the reports and the media, they're saying that they basically raided these people because there was an imminent threat that they were going to attack in April. So, but the only attack that I've read about is for Muslim groups, not attacks on any kind of form of government or authorities or police. It was more about Muslim groups. So you move down here and it says the charges, they charged the 8, including seditious conspiracy, plotting to levy war against the United States. That's basically a group that shoots their mouth off too much, right? A little too ideological. It says possessing a firearm during a crime of violence. I'm not sure what that crime of violence was, but Of course, they're going to have firearms because they're a militia. It says teaching the use of explosives. Well, if you have a militia, yes, you might want to know how to use explosives. And it says attempting to use weapons of mass destruction, i.e. homemade bombs. When I read about that, they're not weapons of mass destruction. But, you know, I'm not defending this group. I'm not defending this group at all. They are, you know, religious. I don't want to say religious nuts, but I'm just saying that they're pretty extreme. And that, you know, you got stuff like this now. Oh, let me make my point here, is that they are a bit extreme. And my belief is that this group could have been not like the Michigan's volunteer militia, where they're more organized and they're more recognized and they don't go around threatening people or anything like that. And I think that this group has the whiff of intelligence agencies attached to the second in command or the first in command, where they try to fund them and radicalize them, and then they tried selling them pipe bombs or selling them something, and they get them on that, and then of course they get them to admit stuff like this, where oh yeah, we're planning on identifying law enforcement officers as potential targets. So I think they just kind of self-incriminate themselves. I don't think that these people are really much of a threat, but you know, that's what the Attorney General says. You know, they were accused of conspiring to levy war against the United States. So I think this thing just smells of a PsyOp to me. That's why I wanted to cover it, because then you got this, right? Problem, action, solution. Authorities said the arrest underscored the dangers of homegrown right-wing extremism of the sort seen in the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing that killed 168. So here you go, DetroitNews.com. Militia members arrested on Sunday, ready to be charged. And when you go down here, it says, too extreme. A member of the controversial Michigan militia said Sunday that the Hootery is a nationwide organization with an ardent following. It says their philosophy and ours differs in many ways, so we don't do a whole lot with them. They are too extreme or radical for us. And that was Jim Gilkson, coordinator of the Lenawee Volunteer Michigan Militia. Mike Lacomar, MichiganMilitia.com, said he heard from other militia members that the FBI targeted the Hootery after its members made threats to violence to Islamic organizations. Something I found weird was this, who is of Islamic descent, this Lacomar. I'm going to post all these links to these articles, guys. You need to check them out. It says, this is, of course, problem, reaction, solution. This militia thing comes after what? The Southern Poverty Law Center reported a resurgence in politically motivated militias, which emerged in the 1980s under the perceived threats, right? Perceived threats are not real, to conservative rights and conspiracies about a United Nations takeover when President Bush spoke of a, quote, New World Order. And of course, militia groups came in the national spotlight in '95 after the false flag bombing of the federal building in Oklahoma, which I believe was just like 9/11. And this article is the Michigan Messenger. What I'm trying to do here, guys, is show you how legitimate militias actually have distanced themselves from the Hootery. And this individual, Mike Vanderboog, who was described by the Washington Post as a former militiaman, said he was critical of the Hootery, saying that, quote, they have indicated in the past that, much like John Brown, they wanted to start a civil war, which is why no responsible militia group in Michigan was willing to ally with them. But get this, but he also warned the government that this action could spark a full-scale civil war with the entire militia movement. But right here, Vanderboog said, but he also criticized other Michigan militia groups for cooperating with the FBI in the raid. To what extent they actually cooperated is not clear. And that's, of course, the Locklear guy. So the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that there's now a stir inside the militia movements themselves. No, they do not agree with the Hootery, but at the same time, they do agree on some principles, and that what I believe is that this is a false flag attack created by the government, the feds, in order to incite violence, in order to get the militias to rise up and start something prematurely. And we all know that divide and conquer is the strategy of the New World Order, right? Of the powers that be. Am I conservative? I believe in self-government. Am I Christian? No, but I do believe in a creator. Am I in a militia? No, but I support them. Thank you.